Yo, what up,
It's
Fred?
the David Morrell fight, right? Moving up in weight. So obviously, he has, it's 26 years old, spent the first 4 years climbing the ranks at 168, unable to get a fight with Canelo, as are, most people in this world these days. Benavides. But he was the target. He was the target choice for real. For the light heavyweight gatekeeper here, I'm not even going to try to butcher his name. So I'm not even going to do it.
Call him Hot Rod.
There you go. I like that. Thank you. Thank you, Clever D. Hot Rod. So what do we think about this? Morrell did earn the decision. But against 168, how are his shots going to play out if he wants to keep moving up to sturdier opposition at even 175? I don't know that would play the way that he thinks it will. So, Clever D, let's start with you, and we'll go back around.
Well, he looked like normal David Morrell, aka the twin of Aaron Judge. He looks just like him, but
he really does. Oh my God, he
just
really
like
does.
him. I mean, good Lord.
Great.
But it was weird because he looked good in the early rounds and then he kind of gassed. Hot Rod's not a slouch. Hot Rod, he had a suspect loss against Marcus Brown. He's a good fighter at a light heavyweight, but I feel like this fight was kind of like similar to David Benavides when he moved up, when his person against at light heavyweight. And Morrell showcased a little bit what he could do, but he also showcased what he needs to work on. Ronnie Shields, that's his trainer, right? Ronnie Shields was yelling at him. Like, what are you doing? Like, come on. Like, he was gassed from like round, I want to say maybe 8 or 9 until the end. He was just gassed, you know what I'm saying? So I don't know if it's a training, if it's a new weight, because once you move up in weight, you got to see how you hold that weight. And Ernest could probably test this, because I looked at Ernest is like he has like 2% body fat and knows all that stuff. I got to pick his brain on how the hell you train like that. But you know what I'm saying? It's one of those things where I don't think the weight, I think he needs to go back down to 168, because it's just not the things he was doing at this weight class. It didn't work. And Hot Rod's a decent fighter, and he was looking good towards the end. But Dan Morrell got the win. But it's just, to me, it's really a issue of boxing, the way that he's WBA regular champion for so long, and then he has to move up to try to do something when Canelo just ignored him. But now, when Canelo wants to fight Berlanga, he wants to fight the WBA regular champion. But that's another story for another day. But yeah, Morrell, lackluster, but he got the dub.
He got the dub. It was a unanimous decision. I forgot to give you the fight scores, and it was 118, 110, and 117, 111. So, Josh, tell us your thoughts.
Well, I thought the cards were a bit wider than what the actual fight was. So what I think this comes down to is experience. And, of course, Morrell, I think he had about 10 fights coming into it. Kalajdzic, he had 20 plus, maybe closer to that 30 mark, somewhere in there. Can't remember the exact number, but that being said, he's also battle tested. That's one of the things. Just because you don't know the name doesn't mean that this person isn't capable. You have to kind of understand where he came from. Kalajdzic, he last fought on Pro Box, and he had a good showing in that regard. But if you really look at his record, break it down, he's been in with some top level names, and he lost a close decision to Marcus Brown in a fight that it was a split decision. Some thought that he won that. And of course he lost to Artur Beterbiev, who is for the most part either 1 or 2 as far as the light heavyweights here in the world. And this was the debut for David Morrell. And as far as Morrell is concerned, especially as it relates to this fight, I view Morrell as one of those guys that has everything you just asked for. He can counterpunch. He has the power, speed. He has the footwork. He has the IQ and all that stuff. But that doesn't necessarily mean you can put it all together and put on the performance that you need. And this was one of the first times I would say that we saw where David Morrell wasn't able to put everything together in the manner that he needed to be able to deal with a veteran who was savvy enough to know and understand his distance. Also, with Morrell moving up, he was going up against a bigger guy. I mean, Kalajdzic is 6'3", longer fighter there, and he's been operating at that weight. And for Morrell, a lot of the head hunting that he was doing wasn't necessarily what was going to get him to where he needed to be. He needed to probably focus a bit more on the body. And Kalajdzic, I thought he did a great job of maintaining the distance that worked for him, especially in the latter portion of the fight where you saw him have success. And as for Morrell, he was kind of just stalking forward. He had his guard up, but he wasn't throwing a ton, and he was getting caught with some clean shots from Kalajdzic, especially some straight shots that kind of just went right in between that guard or whatnot. And this was a learning lesson for Morrell. I think he needed that. He was and still is, you can say, on a pretty high trajectory. This doesn't, push him down or push him back in any capacity. It is interesting as far as the weight. It seems that he will continue to operate at 175 pounds. It would have been ideal if he could have gotten more competition there at 168 pounds. So he was cleaning up the individuals he was facing. But he's going to be a bit more tested, and he's not going to be that bigger guy here at 175. And I think this is going to be something he'll have to cope with and make adjustments on his end. And one of the things with a lot of the Cuban fighters, of course, they have that pedigree that goes back. But you, of course, got to come in there with the right game plan, the right focus, and being able to put that together, because we've seen top-level pedigrees from amateurs who from that Cuban system, and they weren't able to do such. And I think this was just one of those situations where I think he deserved to win for sure. Mm-hmm. And the Hot Rod made it tough for him, especially with his footwork. Hot Rod, I say his footwork and his bouncing, he was just good with that distance. He stayed at the right range for him there, especially in that latter portion. And Morrell, at that point, he needed to change some things up. He needed to not just kind of stalk and look for those headshots. And that's, I think, where he likely failed right there, and putting combinations together in a better manner, using his jab as well, not really focusing on that in the contest. But he can certainly bounce back from it. He's still a young guy. He can improve. As far as Hot Rod, I don't think this did him an injustice. He's still a name that is going to be out there, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see him in with some other top-level names at 175. As far as Morrell, I did see something alluding to him potentially being matched up with David Benavidez. The validity of such, I don't know. But, hey, if that happens, then I think that's an interesting contest right there. And based on what we saw in this contest, I'd certainly lean David Benavidez. But, hey, time will tell.
And just to answer this, he is 29-3 now, is what is cited on the internet as his record. So. By the way, it also said he's suspended by the California Athletic Commission until August 10th. Obviously, that can't be true because he just fought a couple days ago, though. So I'm not sure. Yeah,
that's kind of standard. Sometimes they do that after certain fights or whatever, and some of his precautions, things like that. You're going to automatically have some form of suspicion or suspension, at least 30 days or something of that nature. But, yeah, a lot of that they need to update, basically, to catch up. Essentially.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. Skywalker, your thoughts?
My thoughts, at super middleweight, man, he was cleaning out the division. He looked strong. He almost killed a guy in Ido Sierra-Sinelli. He almost put him in a medically induced coma. We were thinking this guy's a boogeyman, and he's Cuban, so he has the Cuban footwork, I think that really helped him out with this fight. His footwork really won the fight, man. He was getting hit by some big shots by Hot Rod. I seen his coach Ronnie yelling at him in the corner. And I'm actually working the Venala Lopez Angelo Leo Top Rank card this week. I'm working for Top Rank, so I ran into Ronnie Shields today, and I asked him that question. So let me show you the video. It's right before I came on the show. I was at the press conference, but I don't know if you can hear it.
Yeah, I can't really hear that.
You can't hear it?
Can't hear it too great. No.
Oh,
there you go. It's a little better.
That's all that matters. Yes, sir. And
that's all that matters. He won the fight.
One of the best coaches.
Hey. Great. Legendary trainer right there. Legendary.
Yes, he did. Yes, indeed.
Yeah, he's got a fighter, Vito Milnicki Jr. He's fighting this Saturday on Top Rank. So
Vito Milnicki.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Good interview
I
there.
love
Poppy,
it.
what are your
I love
thoughts
it.
on this?
Man, let's go ahead and just get to the elephant in the room first. You can't address this without addressing cherry picking ass Canelo Alvarez.
Thank you.
Right.
Not,
you.
and listen, the Canelo has just too bad for boxing. All right, he's good for business for the Mexican fans and the people that love him, but he's bad for boxing because the commissions are going to do what he wants versus them enforcing their own rules. So we've seen several careers get dragged on trying to get fights with him. What we know about him is he's taking the easiest pick he can take for the bread.
Turkey
Somebody
called him out.
put that path out there before, it worked, so he's following it. We can't be mad at it. But if he's not going to take the fights that he needs to be taking, he got to go. Now, the fight with Morrell and Hot Rod, right? We can call this athleticism versus experience. Hot Rod he fights in the classic European style. And it was though athleticism wasn't used. David Morrell is far more athletic, far more gifted with the feet. He didn't use his tools. He went up a weight class, right? Him going up a weight class, well, we got to contrast what him and David Benavidez did. David Benavidez hit his opponent with everything in the kitchen sink and couldn't get him out of there. It's heavier. But David looked better than Morrell did at that weight based off of David's activity. I think if Morrell had more activity and used his athleticism, he could have set up the shots that could have stopped Hot Rod. All right. Too many lulls in action. It seems as if I love Cuban fighters. Don't get me wrong, but it seems as if they fall in love with style points. You hit somebody, they raising their hand. Yeah, and they look off in the crowd. Boy, get to work, boy. You got to get to work. Raise your hand, stop on them after you do some damage. It's not, let's get this one punch in and go raise my hand, look off to the side. You know what I'm saying? That's not how we do it over here. You got to get to work and earn that credit that you're looking for. All right. So basically, I feel as though David Morrell is he's a super talented dude. He didn't listen to his corner. That seems like that's the thing with these new guys. You can't tell them nothing. They get in their feelings, but you got to listen to your trainers. They know best. Get more active. Use your jab. Use your athleticism. You're more athletic than everybody else. Your power does work. Yeah, they do hit harder. Maybe don't get hit with the same shots over and over again. Now let's give it up to my guy Hot Rod, right? Yep. Hot Rod. What beats speed? Timing, right? So Hot Rod got enough pop, and he had some excellent timing. And my man David couldn't figure out how to get away from. Man, I come in there and I got a small concussion. So David, that's why he's on. That's why he's on the timeout. My man got a couple of concussions. He got a couple of more notches of the CTE belt out of there. So, but I bet you he put some respect on anybody else at 175.
Sure does. The hairline got pushed back too. So
it ain't all bells and whistles, man. Y'all knock them off until you knock them off. Y'all knock all this off. That's it.
And when you were talking about Canelo, all I could think of was just yelling, "Say it louder for the people in the back, please," because Canelo is just ducking every which way for year upon decade. It's coming on like a decade now.
They let him do that. They let him do that.
I'm on record saying who Canelo was going to pick. I said he was going to pick Berlanga. Berlanga is the most inexperienced out of all of them and the most vulnerable. And I said after Berlanga, Billy would be the next one because he's defensively irresponsible. Right? You don't want nobody that got high activity. You know what I mean? That's not his style.
That's hilarious you say that. Look at the comment that just came in below.
Shout out to you, think of that?
Yeah, no, man. Y'all forgot? Canelo was getting ready to go fight Makabu. There was
Yep.
he
I
had
remember that.
fight, and he had got that belt. Man, they would have had
Go all the way up. Go all the way up.
Canelo baptizing a baby if he had went up there. Oh, he got a cruiserweight belt. Oh my God,
Right.
no, bro.
Oh, he would have so many restrictions on that fight too.
Bro.
I want a Bud Crawford Canelo fight, man. I don't know about you guys, but
I don't want that.
Oh, that's too much, man.
Canelo needs to fight David Benavidez. That's who he needs to freaking fight right
You can
there.
ask Omar about how I
Please.
feel about that. Ain't no way. I never liked that fight.
150 is
Never.
too much for Bud. 154 should be it.
Yeah, salute to
Yeah,
Bud.
that's
No,
it.
nobody wants to see that.
create his own
We're
legacy.
a catch weight. No.
Respectfully, but I love Bud. Like I've been on Bud. Pause. I've been a fan of Bud for a while.
Wowzer!
I used to like.
Reckless.
I said Paul. I paused it.
I know.
But
I know.
Well, it is ball
my
and
issue
Bud.
with Bud though was what I used to like Earl Spence, especially when we went over and fought Carol Brook. I was like, okay,
Yeah.
he gonna order that out. But when I saw that video of him saying, "Oh, I'm taking an easy route," or "You fight on the other side," I lost all respect for Earl Spence right there.
No doubt
Okay,
about
at
it.
least
Same
say-
here.
Yeah, at least say you want to fight him, and then let the promoters block you. Don't just say right in front of him, "Hey, hey, man, I'm gonna go the easy route. I'm gonna fight Danny Garcia." Oh, okay, all right, we're done. Well, I don't need to. I can't rock with you no more. Okay, it's a fighting game, not the you fight on the other side of the street game. So
That may not be enough of a reason to not fuck with him, because there is a business side to boxing that we don't talk about enough. There is a business side to it, and I think that if casual fans had a better understanding of the business side of boxing, a promoter, you're not gonna have a guy on your team that you don't want to push. So I think if people understood
there is a business side, but you got to put it like as a fighter. The fighter should say, "I want to." Like Fundora said when he beat Tim Tszyu, he was like, "Yes, I want to fight Bud," knowing PBC is not going to let that happen, or his trainer's not going to let that happen. But as a fighter, you should at least vocalize it and say, "Yes, I want to do that."
Yeah.
Not, "I want to take the easy route out," or "Hey, you fight on the other side of the street." I don't want to hear that from a fighter. I'd rather hear that from a promoter. That's where when I heard that from Earl, I was like,
No, I
okay,
feel you for
I
sure.
see what we're doing. I
you
see what we're
said
doing.
the quiet part out loud.
Yeah, just like Javante and a Farmer back in the day. They was about to fight at the at MGM up here when I forgot.
Oh yeah, we were both out there. I saw that.
Yeah.
I was right there by them.
I was up there for that fight, and they, he was like, "Oh well, they don't want Philly and Mary and Baltimore going at it." I was like, "No, Farmer's right here. Fight him." PBC like, we'll fight somebody flat-footed and doesn't have the same complexion as you. But hey, they built a monster and Tank, is what it is.
Tank might have knocked that eyeball straight. That mug, he'd have been walked in there and went off.
He was blinking like what? What was that?
Woo. And that's one thing we can say. That boy, the power is real. It's real.
Thank God it. Thank God it for sure. Thank God it for sure.
Power 5,000.